Okay, another week, another impact, another drop in viewership. Not good. Assuming this is not just because of whatever sports were airing against the show that night, let's see if we can figure out why this happened. So our show begins at the LAX clubhouse, and we've got Conan rallying the troops and saying that tonight is the night that they're introducing the newest member of LAX. Now, right off the bat, I'm getting an uneasy feeling about this. This company does have a history of doing big, bloated heel factions with way too many members, way more members than they need. And LAX are already a group where you could argue they've got one member too many. Now, they do need somebody who can credibly stand toe-to-toe against Alberto El Patron if this feud is going to continue, but does the company have anyone that fits the bill, who they're actually willing to get behind in that way? And I mean someone on the active roster, not bringing in Rey Mysterio or something like that. It seems doubtful, but let's keep going. So we go to the Impact Zone for our opening match of the night. In the Super X Cup Tournament semifinals, we got Desmond Xavier versus Grado. It's a great match, albeit maybe a little too choreographed. Goes like 20 minutes, which was cool, and Desmond Xavier wins. And he's probably a pretty good bet to win this thing at Destination X, assuming the company wants to go with a winner who actually works for them, and not somebody from outside the company. I wouldn't put it past them, but I think Desmond Xavier's a good bet. So, yeah, great match. Choreographed, yes, but, you know, I can excuse that because of the work rate. Anyway, yeah, not a whole lot to say about this, just great opening match. Moving on. So we have a pretty extensive Bobby Lashley Matt Sydal hype video. Just something to promote their match at Destination X. Nice that they're doing this because the build-up itself was kind of awkward and, well, not that much of it really. But you can tell they're putting a lot behind this. They're hyping this up as a big match, probably one of the featured matches of the show, and they seem to have high hopes for it. And it kind of has me wondering, will this be a way for them to elevate Matt Sydal up the card? Is he going to be the next X Division guy to kind of be launched into the upper mid-card or possibly main events? I don't know. I would suspect so with the way they're pushing this. So could we be expecting possibly an upset victory for Sydal? I'm not sure how they could swing that. Maybe somebody could interfere and cost Lashley the match? I don't know. But I don't think Sydal going over in that match is out of the question. It just remains to be seen if it'll make sense or not. Because Sydal going over Bobby Lashley clean, it's a bit of a hard sell, even though they did it with Eddie Edwards several times. So we'll see. So after this, we have an Alberto El Patron interview backstage, where McKenna is talking to him, and this is all about Patron being suspicious that his brother is the new member of LAX. I'm not sure why he would suspect his brother of this, because LAX have roughed up his brother and his father several times. But no, he's very suspicious. He's like, I don't trust you. I think you're gonna screw me over. Are you in LAX? Are you in LAX? And they're hitting this so hard that it's obviously a fake out. You know, I mean, there's no subtlety here. These writers really have to learn subtlety if they want to swerve people, because this is not how you do it. You're hitting it so hard, it's obviously just meant to distract us. They're obviously going in a different direction. So that's something they really need to work on. So after this, we have a X Division match with the faux champion Trevor versus the Mumbai Cat. You could probably guess where this was going already. So he's wrestling one of the Mumbai Cats, and at one point the cat goes outside the ring, and him and the other cat, they do the Bella Twin switcheroo gimmick, and the other cat quickly gets the pin. And the match is maybe 2 minutes. So former X Division champion Trevor gets pinned in 2 minutes. And then the cat unmasks, and to the shock of no one, it's Sanjay. It's all very, very predictable stuff. And Bruce Pritchard quickly comes out with security, not to take back the X Division title from the man who stole it, but no, the security is out to remove the rightful champion who is just trying to get his property back, because We're still doing that. So what was Pritchard's plan here? Was it just to ban Sanjay from the building until like 30 days had passed, where he hadn't defended the title, and at which point he could just strip Sanjay of the title for not defending it? So many things that don't add up about this storyline. Anyway, Sanjay grabs a microphone, and he says to Trevor Lee, hey, let's settle this in a ladder match at Destination X. Okay. And then Sanjay's taken away by security. So that's another Destination X match. And there's a couple things that stand out here. First of all, if you remove all the canned heat they pumped into this segment, you can see there's very little crowd reaction. And I don't think you can chalk that up to just being in the impact zone, where the crowd reaction is, well, it's hard to get a rise out of them at the best of times. And frankly, I'm not surprised. They must have known that Sanjay, as X Division champion in America, wasn't going to go over nearly as well as it did in India. I mean, I like the guy, but, you know, God bless him, he's never really had that gravitas, that it factor, that charisma that you need in someone that you build a division around. So they needed to be smart about how they booked him. But instead, the first thing that happens to Sanjay after he won his feud for the X title in the first place is the belt gets stolen. Then he's banned from the building because of reasons that are not explained, while the focus shifts to the guy who stole the belt, and Sanjay is barely seen for weeks and unable to get the belt back. So instead of making him look like a strong champion, they've been cutting him off at the knees until this week, not presenting him as a champion the fans should get behind, and lo and behold, they're not getting behind him. And he could thank creative for that. I mean, the writers seem to have very little faith in him to carry the ball outside of India, and this stuff with Bruce Pritchard healing Sanjay for seemingly no reason whatsoever is full of holes and makes no sense at all. This storyline sucks. And that's bad news for Sanjay. I mean, his title reign was already in need of validation, and then this happens? Assuming he gets past Trevor Lee at Destination X, I'm not sure how they can salvage this. So, after this, we have a very interesting video package about Bobby Lashley and his like training regimen with American Top Team, I think is what it was. And they have interviews from all these MMA guys analyzing the debate of should Bobby Lashley be a two-sport athlete? Should he focus on just wrestling or just MMA? Should he do both? I've never really understood that personally. It's like, why shouldn't he do both when he's proven that he can very easily do both and succeed at doing both? Well, why is it even an issue? I don't know. I mean, he's destroying everybody in Bellator. So, where's the problem? You know? It makes no sense to me. But it's a well-put-together video, and I think they do raise, I think, some good, some interesting points. You know, these guys will have their opinions. Some are saying, "Oh, he can do both." He's saying, "No, if you want to be the best, you gotta focus." Okay, but again, he's destroying everyone in Bellator. So I don't know. What I like about this is that it felt like a very real-world scenario. It didn't feel scripted. It didn't feel like an angle. It just felt like real-life stuff. So it's some kind of work shoot angle, I'm assuming, but because it felt real in this way, it really stood out in stark contrast to the rest of the show. Like, it's like, well, maybe they should be doing more stuff like this instead of the Grado stuff, for example. Because this actually feels like legitimate. Maybe they should go more in this direction. Because they could have something potentially interesting here. If it's a work, and I'm going to assume it is, it didn't feel like a work, and that's the point. Because we've seen with all the work stuff that they're doing that they're pretty easily fucking that up. So maybe some elements of reality are what they're missing here. So anyway, we go back to the Impact Zone for a match. Eli Drake comes out. Unfortunately, not with a microphone. And so Josh Matthews is saying, oh, a lot of people are labeling Eli Drake as a future world champion. And so they're talking him up, pumping this guy up, future world champion, blah, blah, blah. And then the match never starts. Because his opponent, Eddie Edwards, is laid out backstage by Congo Kong. Congo Kong, who is so enraged about this Grado situation that he just couldn't take it anymore and had to unleash his aggression on somebody, and I guess Eddie Edwards drew the short straw. So, the future world champion, Eli Drake, is basically just a place filler to facilitate a Grado storyline. I guess that beats having to promote Swole Mates, but it's not much of a step up. Impact writers, do you not understand what's wrong with this situation? Do you understand how you could be using Eli Drake better than you are right now? That you should be using Eli Drake better than you are right now. While I'm on the subject of Eli Drake, can you please give this motherfucker a microphone already? He's one of the best talkers in the damn industry, and you never let him talk anymore. Come on, guys, use your heads. You let him talk and he gets over. This isn't complicated. So, after this we have a title match. For the Grand Championship, Moose defending against EC3. EC3 wins round 1, Moose wins round 2, I guess. And then eventually the match goes to the judges. Scott D'Amore and Dutch Mantell both score a 10-10, with Bruce Pritchard scoring it 10-8. And EC3 wins the title. And this is controversial because it was supposed to be a draw or whatever. Yeah, the match is okay, although it felt like not much was happening until the third round when they started breaking out the bigger moves because they both knew this was the round they had to win. Frankly, I don't think this match was booked right. It's not supposed to be a war of attrition. It should be a battle to take every single round. What they were doing in round 3 is what every round should be like. But to be honest, I really think it's time to just kill this 3-round point system gimmick. I was cool with them trying it out for a while, but it really hasn't gone anywhere. They struggle with booking the matches properly at the best of times. And I don't know that there's much interest in seeing it continue. But if anyone can make that title interesting, it's EC3, so just stay tuned for that. Now, EC3 as the new champion is great. It's great. It feels like the guy actually has a direction now. I would prefer him in the world title picture where he belongs. Fingers crossed that's where they're going. But this is a step in the right direction. Like I said, maybe he can make that title relevant in a way that it hasn't been so far. Of course, would really help if they killed the 3-round point system. But then we see Bruce Pritchard. We come back to Pritchard, okay? And this is just getting more and more frustrating. Because it really feels like the writers have not thought this out. Clearly Pritchard is turning heel, but there's no rhyme or reason to anything he's doing. It's like he's acting heelish in completely random situations just because heels are bad. It's very old school in that way. Maybe somebody should inform the writers that people actually need reasons for doing what they do. You can't just say evil is bad and have that be the end of it. It's a little more complicated than that. Okay, now, take this situation, okay? What Pritchard did made no sense. Because he had no motivation to unfairly support one guy over the other. Hell, if you look closer, it might have made more sense to rule in favor of Moose, since Moose mentioned offhand in an interview just a couple weeks ago that he didn't like people just being handed things, even though he was excited about defending his title against Marufuji, which completely contradicted that, but whatever. So, if Moose doesn't like people being handed things, well, isn't that the same thing that Pritchard has been saying that he doesn't like? So shouldn't they be on the same page about this? Really, it would have made more sense character-wise for Pritchard to rule in favor of Moose. But then he rules in favor of EC3 just because EC3 is the heel, I guess. And it's all just very confusing. Because you don't know where this Pritchard thing is going, you don't know why he's acting the way he is, and none of it makes any sense. So after this, we had another match it's a 6-man tag with Braxton Sutter, Grado, and Suicide versus KM, Mario Bocara, and Falaba. And the faces win when Grado pins KM. Okay, what the fuck is this? Why is KM eating the pin here? Now, this isn't about him being my guy. It's not about him being vice president of the GTFO Karen Club, okay? Not about that. All right, you've got Falaba, Mario Bocara, who have been enhancement jobbers since they showed up in this company. And then you got KM, who, even though he's booked like shit a lot of the time, has shown that he has star potential, has shown that he can be an entertaining character. And I've read reports from the live events that they just did that this guy is a freaking riot in person. Apparently, he's a really funny dude. This is someone you can potentially make money with. So why the fuck is he getting pinned when Ba or Bocara can do that instead? It's stupid. Speaking of stupid, then Grado starts doing stuff. So his work visa is about to expire or whatever. So if he wants to stay in America, he needs to become an American citizen by getting married. So he calls out the Canadian citizen in America on a work visa. Yeah, he calls out the Canadian in America on a work visa, Laurel Van Ness, to get an answer to his proposal. Now, LVN, defying all manner of logic and reason, LVN seems excited about this. But Congo Kong shows up, and he is not happy about any of it, and who the hell could blame him? So Kong puts a stop to this, and once again, Grado does not get an answer. Is it too much to hope for that his work visa will expire before the next Impact starts? So he'll be deported between now and then? Probably. Alright, here's my question. Forget about the fact that this whole thing is fucking stupid in the first place because LVN is Canadian and you can't become an American citizen by marrying a fucking Canadian. Why are we supposed to like Grado? Why is he the babyface? Here we have this woman who, despite being a heel, actually seems to like Grado for whatever reason. I guess because she's crazy. Doesn't matter. She likes him, that's the point. But he's made it very clear that she kind of freaks him out. And unbeknownst to her, he's only using her so he can stay in the country. So Grado is manipulating the feelings of a woman who likes him, lying to her, trying to coerce her into a marriage just so he can get a green card. How is he the babyface? This makes Grado look like an asshole. All this is doing is making the heel LVN look sympathetic because she's the one getting screwed over. She's the one having her feelings toyed with. Yeah, I really would love to pick the brains of the writers who are booking this because I don't understand how this makes Grado the good guy. Is it because he's kind of partnering with Joseph Park and people like Joseph Park? The dynamics here are really screwy. It makes no sense how we're supposed to like Grado here. He's being a dick. I don't understand. But after this, we get an EC3 victory celebration. He comes out with the Grand Championship, and oh, he is just on cloud nine. He says he loves the title. He kisses the title, probably gives it a little tongue, and he's like, "Hey, Belt, you want to get out of here?" And he just takes off. So what's going on here? Was something going to happen with EC3 and the belt? Is this EC3 coming out as a beltosexual? Is he going to make sweet love to that belt back at the hotel? Not sure how the mechanics would work, but if anyone can figure it out, it's EC3. Yeah, this was good. This is the kind of thing you should do when you win a title. You celebrate. You make it look like a big deal, and it's something that's kind of needed with the Grand Championship because it's kind of been floundering, not through any fault of Moose, but it's just the rules just really hold it back. Maybe going in a more character-oriented direction might work with it, because just sticking to the rules and trying to play those up, it's not happening. It's not clicking. It's not. So I'm optimistic that EC3 can do something with this, but they really need to kill those three round gimmick. It's time to let it go. It really is. But yeah, good celebration here by EC3. I'm excited to see where this goes. And that brings us to our main event of the evening with LAX versus the Patron family. Still not exactly sure what pushing Alberto El Patron's father and brother in this way does for you. Who are we trying to appeal to with this? They must be going hard after the Hispanic demographic, or maybe they're negotiating for some kind of big TV deal in Mexico or something. Because otherwise, I'm not sure what the point of pushing the Patron family like this is. I'm really not. Anyway, towards the end of the match, there's a ref bump, and then they do the tease of Patron's brother getting the chair. Is he going to hit Patron? Is he going to hit Alberto? But no, he hits LAX. Very predictable stuff. No one bought this. No, everyone just saw it for exactly what it was. It's just a fake out, nothing more. They didn't even try to make that look believable. Anyway, Patron has Santana in the armbar, and he's about to tap out, and then Low Key shows up from out of nowhere in an LAX jacket, hits the Warriors way on Patron. Santana pins Patron, LAX wins. Thankfully, because they'd been on the losing end of this feud for the last couple of weeks, and they really needed this. So, but the Patron brother thing was a fake out, really poorly done fake out, and LAX's new member is Low Key, which is weird because I always thought Low Key was Asian. So I learned something today. Or Thursday, whatever. So Low Key is in LAX now. This gives LAX 6 members. Which brings me back to my earlier point about big bloated heel factions. I'm sorry, but this group is getting too damn big. And it's hearkening back to the clusterfuck that was Immortal during the Hogan era. Immortal, which had so many goddamn people in it that nobody got over because nobody stood out and therefore nobody mattered. They need to trim the fat out of this faction. And I hate to say it, but right now that fat is Homicide. Since they brought him back, he really hasn't done anything except get pinned by Patron after like 10 seconds. You know, maybe he's injured right now or something, but even if he were healthy, name one thing Homicide does that Low Key can't do. Now, with Low Key in there now, Homicide just feels kind of superfluous. And if he's not filling some kind of critical role in the group that no one else can fill, then they really don't need him. So why is he there? I don't know. And I still don't know where this is all going. Is Low Key going to challenge Patron for the world title now? I don't have a problem with that if that's where they're going, but unless they really get behind Low Key, then I don't know if this is going to work as a long-term program. Because, do any of you really see Low Key defeating Patron right now? I mean, maybe if the domestic situation catches up with Patron, apparently it seems that he's being ruled innocent in this situation, but they might want to take the focus off him until the heat dies down regardless. So maybe they're positioning Low Key to take the belt off him, maybe for a short-term title reign? I don't know. I'll certainly take Low Key over Conan challenging for the belt, but I guess we'll see. It's going to be a little bit of a transition here. Could they be pushing low-key into a world title feud with Patron? I don't know. I mean, I think he could do it, but it all feels a little bit sudden and out of left field. Anyway, this show is more of the same from Impact this week. The wrestling continues to be good, but creative is kind of a mess right now. And the writers have really been phoning these shows in for the last couple of weeks, which is very troubling. They need to stop with the Pritchard stuff because the show grinds to a screeching halt every time he's on screen. And they need to put some actual thought into these other storylines because very few of them make any kind of sense right now. So that's my review. I'm sorry I can't really talk to the chat room this week, but I've got some other stuff that I have to do before tonight. And also, I was kind of wiped out after I had to work all day yesterday. Anyway, so, is there anything I have to answer here? Just gotta go through this real quick, because I have to, go to the store and do some other things. Eli Drake is amazing on the mic, and he does not get any mic time. How stupid is that? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's extremely stupid. Her name is Mackenzie. Are you calling me a liar? I don't think Sienna would lie about something like that. Please. Why didn't Sanjay take the belt off Trevor before unmasking? Because this storyline is stupid. That's why. This X Division build-up is one of the worst feuds I have ever seen in the X title history. Their logic is so horrible, so many holes. I don't know if it's one of the worst feuds in X Division history. It's certainly not one of the better ones. I can't stand this storyline at all. It's not even that hard to build up since Trevor Lee is a good talker. Yeah, unfortunately, he's a better talker than Sanjay is. So that's one more thing working against Sanjay as he tries to get people behind him. It's bad enough that it's a poorly booked storyline, poorly written storyline, but now he's trying to get heat off a heel that's more charismatic than he is. It's an uphill battle. It really is. Okay. After giving too many benefit of the doubts, I officially hate the writing team of Jarrett, Dutch, and others. I hate this old school NWA booking bullshit. You know, this is what happens when nepotism factors too much into decision making. As Jarrett, he brought in all his buddies to write the show. So it's basically just Jarrett and his group of cronies, steering the ship right now, and they need somebody outside their bubble who's going to tell Jarrett, no, this probably isn't a good idea. We really shouldn't do this, or we need to explain that better. And they don't have someone like that right now. And so it's just a bunch of middle-aged men writing the show. They need some outside voices. They need some younger voices. They need some attention to fucking detail. They don't have any of these things, and that's a big problem. Okay. Is Desmond Xavier signed with GFW, or is he there part-time? I believe he's signed. Okay. Stop it with Desmond Xavier. He's decent but nothing special until now, and saying he's X Division champion material now is stupid. Okay, well, here's my question. Would you prefer Desmond Xavier win the Super X Cup, or would you prefer one of the ACH or Ishimori, neither of whom are members of the roster? So you can go with the guy who actually works for them, or you can go with people who don't work for them. Because one of them has to win the tournament. Seems pretty open and shut to me. LVN is very underrated as a woman performer. She should be the Knockouts champion, and Allie taking the title at Bound for Glory. I agree. LVN is very underrated. She's impressed me a lot since she debuted. Unfortunately, I think if anyone's taken the title at Bound for Glory, it'll be Gail Kim. And that's assuming she doesn't take it a lot sooner than Bound for Glory. It's not what I hope happens, but we should probably brace ourselves because it's probably what's going to happen. Okay. Austin Aries shaved all his facial hair and regular hair. Yeah, I saw that picture. I didn't even recognize him. It's bizarre. I wonder if they're ever going to reveal that LVN is Canadian. I wonder that too. Will this go all the way to like another wedding angle, and they'll reveal at the wedding that, oh yeah, I'm Canadian, you can't become an American citizen by marrying me? Or are they just going to ignore it entirely? I don't know how they can fucking ignore it, because it says she's Canadian on her Twitter profile. She's mentioned that she's Canadian in YouTube videos on the Impact Wrestling YouTube page, but now we're not supposed to know that she's Canadian? If they don't say it on the show at some point, they're just insulting our intelligence. That's the problem I have with this. Okay. Can LAX have a tag team feud? Hopefully soon. They're going to have to defend those titles at some point. Maybe that's what they're bringing in OVE for? Or, you know, they had the Veterans of War show up last time. So is that feud still going on? It's kind of the same situation as when the Hardys were doing that whole Expedition of Gold thing. It's like they're kind of doing their own thing, and the rest of the division suffers for it. Now you got LAX feuding with Patron, and so the rest of the tag team division just takes a back seat. I know they don't have a lot of teams to work with right now, but they could be doing something. They need to get Shauna in TNA. I would love to see that, but they've had opportunities to sign her, and they just didn't go for it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Okay. How do we know Casey's info about the new knockouts is reliable? Well, Casey does run squaredcirclesirens.com, so he'd probably have more information than any of us. And there's no way of knowing for sure if it's reliable, but I have no reason to think it isn't, unless he's just fucking with all of us. I suppose it's possible, but I tend to think he's on the level. Or don't quote me on it. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up at this point, guys. I got to get out of here. Got to go to the store, do a couple other things that I need to get done before tonight. So, thanks everyone for watching. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'm working next Saturday again, so might have to do it on Sunday. I might try to do it on Friday, or I might just like record something and post-produce it and then upload it and just forego the stream. I don't know yet. I'll figure it out, but I'll talk to you guys in a few days. Enjoy Game of Thrones tonight. Over. Out.